what you will see is that ASL is very visual language, and see how it connects. So like Galinda, when she was telling the story, she wasn't signing the English words, she was using the conceptually accurate signs. So you know the upset, that word, upset trash can. So really that, when you think of that word, it can be upset of emotions. But in ASL, you wouldn't sign upset, because that's for emotions. That's for a person being upset. So you have to think about not using that sign because it doesn't mean what you want it to mean. You mean upset, meaning like a negative thing where the trash can is falling over, meaning that type of upset. So you can see the difference, right? So really you're looking at what the story means and then what the emotion, the facial expression, and tied to what the author's intention is. That's how you would want to use the language. Also with cookie, for example. Right. That's another good example. So another example being that you have to be careful when you pick your signs, right? So you see the word cookie, but it's the cat, it's their name, right? It's not the food. You're not going to sign cookie like this, which is the food. Because you're not going to call the cat cookie like the food. But you're going to eat the cat. Oh no. Exactly. So that's another example that has a different meaning behind that word, cookie. So you have to think of a sign for the cat's name instead of signing the food. So as you learn and as you pick up more vocabulary and your ASL gets better, you'll start understanding, think about the concepts, think about how your feelings and visual expressions will be able to match your signs, and you'll start making those connections. I also want to just emphasize to you what Linda was doing right here with Trey. Touching things, touching Trey. Having that connection is very important for language acquisition. Getting that attention isn't necessarily just, forcing them to look. No, it's that excitement, it's the motivation, it's the curiosity, it's the feeling, what you feel, right? That kind of bonding between the two of you. Like, I'm so excited, Mom is doing this with me, I'm excited and inspired and feeling that connection. Just like the spider, ooh, Mom, I'm going to teach you the spider. Oh, maybe I'm scared of the spider. Oh, look at that spider. Oh my goodness, there it goes. And you call up onto the other person, and then he shows that he's scared, right? And you have that one, that's just an example of one way to do it. So having that tactile feeling, showing what, the signer is expressing to them, and having that connection between the two. And that will support the eye contact, eye gaze. So where he's looking, and that's really the beginning of the conversation. How do you start that conversation? Eye gaze is important for the beginning. Or you could wave, you could tap, and then once you start getting that interaction, he's interested, you can keep going. The book is a good tool because you want to create motivation and interest and have that connection. What are we talking about? Be on the same topic. We're talking about the fish. He's going to have this mental image of the fish and the water, and maybe you spritz some water on him and he'll make more and more connections. That's why books are a really wonderful visual tool. It helps develop different topics, feelings, and description of characters, descriptive vocabulary. For example, with the closet, right? If you remember, ASL is really cool. So you have, this sort of hand shape. You have the hangers all along. You have the door. Why? Because of the shape. You can see the door opening. You can see it moving. You can pull the handle. You can open the door. Maybe, he'll see the door. Maybe he'll walk over to a door and open it himself. He'll make that connection. A real door. Look at it. Oh, I get it. And make that internal connection. And that is so important. It's quite an iconic sign. It's based on the function of what's happening. So he'll make that connection. The book, Cookie's Week, is an awesome way to make connections to things in your home. You might walk around and be like, oh, the kitchen, I see the drawers, oh, look, the pan. We have this thing, we have the pot. Or in your drawers. Or you can go around and show, oh, maybe not the mess though. But it's still good exposure. It's still good to stimulate. Right, to make those connections. connections runs inside your home. You can see, oh, we have all of these things. We have the kitchen, we have the living room, the bathroom, oh, the toilet. Show where these things are. This is the bathroom. You can bring the book. This is the kitchen, and then he can make the connection between the book and the physical surroundings. It gives him that exposure, the feeling. So you have the connection between what the sign is and why the sign was created that way. Some of them are based on the function. Also, it doesn't mean just read that book. No, I really encourage you to read the same book for maybe a week, 2 weeks, even though you might feel it's very repetitive, but kids love to have that repetition. And the way that you sign it, you can sign it differently depending on how you're feeling. If you're feeling really comfortable after a couple weeks, go ahead and put that one to the side. And then pick up a new book. Do that one for a couple weeks and then maybe go back to that original book. And they do really enjoy having the repetition. But be prepared when he grows up, he's going to ask you to have more and more and more information. Why? Why this? Why that? Why the other thing? And you're like, oh, wow. So be prepared. Eventually you're going to have to, well, because of this and that and the other thing, when he's, older, 6, 7, 8. And then you'll be doing more reading. So in the future, it'll be the other way around, right? Start doing more reading than you. Anything else, Olivia? I also mentioned about acquiring the hand shapes, not having to be perfect right at this moment. I completely agree. So really basic hand shapes right now that he would be able to do is like this, the flat hand, fingers open, the one hand shape. Could do like this, the S. And it might not be exactly the same hand shape. It might be slightly different the way he signs it. And he doesn't have to follow the right way, per se, but just close enough. What's easiest for his hands at this moment, at this age. Later on, he'll start developing the more complicated hand shapes. And so the thumb might go in, or the one hand shape might turn into a bent finger, the X. And it's fine if he signs it the way he's signing it, because he's just starting to learn and eventually become more complex. And at first, the location is often the most correct. If you see, say, fish out in that location, out in the air, then that's accurate, right? Typically, you'll see that. If you see mom, over on the chin, that location, if it's maybe a thumb or a finger, it's still the correct location. It's in that area. So we would consider that location first to be accurate. The hand shape itself is the last to develop. Location and movement are typically the first that develop accurately before the hand shapes. So just to let you know that, he's really loving acquiring language, his first words, all of this. It's the same with babbling. They start, their acquisition levels, their pace is very, very similar. Research has shown, research-based, is bilingual is so beneficial for children. They gain rich knowledge, they have both languages. So really, it'll be interesting, with your pace, with your time, expose him to language as much as you can.